One of your textbooks this semester is going to be Teams That Thrive. Teams That Thrive is a great resource that just helps you look at team development. We're going to look at it from a paid standpoint. We're going to look at it from a volunteer standpoint. But as you read this book this semester, I hope it helps you. Also, I reached out to the author, and he's made a couple of things available for you for free that you're going to find in the Blackboard shelf for this course. There's a couple of ethical guidelines with that, though. He's asked that you only download it and use it in relation to this class. And so if you want to use the How to Have a New Team workbook and things that are available to you for download PDF in the class, you use those around the class. Those are normally paid for resources, and Ryan Hartwig has allowed us to use those in relation to our class since we're using his book as one of our texts for the semester. And so I just want you to know that those are available to you this semester to use. We'll be talking and unpacking different things from the book. And so I would encourage you to begin diving in. If you look at my book, it's all marked up. There's notes. There's all kinds of things there. And I think it's going to be a great book. Another book that I'm going to reference for you this semester is going to be Sticking Points. I think one of the major things that we need to consider this semester in leading team-based ministry is the reality that any of our churches has at least 3 generations of adults. And some of our churches that they're more established and been in existence longer are going to have as many as 5 generations of adults from early adulthood to later adulthood. And so when we're looking at how we get all those generations working together, Hayden Shaw provides us 12 sticking points that with our communication, our dress code, all those kind of things, we can come together, we can blow apart. And so I hope that information is going to be helpful to you this semester as we also begin to unpack what it means to come together as adults to achieve what God has called us to do. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to have to unpack for your ministry. Now, I can't do it for each one of you, but I can give you the resources of how and be available to you to support you. But think with me for a moment. How many adults do you have employed every week to do the work of ministry in your church? You say, Jody, what do you mean? I'm so glad you asked, because this is what it looks like. Sunday morning, you have greeters and ushers. You have a praise team, a choir, musicians, a media team. How many people then does it take to just do worship? Unique people, count it up, add it up. How many people? You do small group ministry. Maybe they meet on your campus in a Sunday school format. Maybe they meet in a life group format. Maybe they meet during the week in home groups or different times in the church. But how many leaders do you need for your group ministry? How many people from preschool to senior adults is serving in ministry to make that happen? How many unique people help make that Bible study, group ministry possible in your church? And then you come down to what else have you programmed during the week? Preschool, children, students, adults. Maybe it's Wednesday night. Maybe it's another night of the week. Maybe it's different days of the week. And you go, okay, Jody, every given week then with worship, with group ministry, with other ministry that we feel led to do in the life of the church. Maybe you're doing Celebrate Recovery. That would be another. Maybe you're doing another type of ministry like Upward. And how many people for that 12 weeks of evaluations to coaching to referees to all the different aspects that come together to make Upward happen. How many? So then you get a leadership composite of what it looks like to do the ministry of your church. Okay? So then you see how many unique people. So how many unique people? Then you need to start figuring out the second layer. Okay? The second layer would then be the duplicating number. Okay, Jody sings in the choir. Jody teaches a small group. Jody serves on Wednesday night teaching our children. So then you see that is 3 positions, but it's 1 person. And then you might start seeing, okay, Jody's wife, Emily. Emily serves in student ministry, teaching high school. And then she also sings in the choir. And so then you start getting a composite of my family, that my family is a family unit of 4 coming to your church with our 2 children. But then as a family unit of 4, we're serving in 5 different spots of ministry during the week. But not only do you then need to see that aspect of the leadership composite to do ministry, there's an admin component to churches. So I know churches in Southern Baptist Convention that have elders. I know the churches in Southern Baptist Convention have deacons. I know some that have both. And there's a leadership structure for administration that comes into play. Do you have a finance team, or do you have a personnel team? Do you have, maybe you call them committees. And so how many people are then serving a unique spot in the admin work of the church? And you get that whole composite. You see how many unique positions it takes to do everything in the life of the church. You say, Jody, why does that matter? Well, what happens is you have to realize how many unique spots people are filling, and if you have overtasked the work. Do you have enough adults to send them out serving in ministry, or have you overscheduled? Have you overbooked, if you will? It's almost like a doctor that put too many patients in his schedule, and you find yourself sitting in the waiting room 45 minutes after your appointment time. And so what we're trying to do here is in this session, in this unit this week, I'm trying to get you to unpack how many volunteers does it take to do what you're trying to do every week in ministry to advance the gospel and disciple people, but also in worship. And what are you having to do to churn, manage, administer the work as well? So take those two composites, see what that looks like, what the total is, and that's your assignment for this week. Figuring out how many unique people, how much it takes, how many people are non-duplicating and duplicating, as far as are they serving one position, two positions, three positions, four, five positions, six positions, hope there's no more. Kind of idea that how many unique places are people going. And so I want you to just unpack this week those things and then figure it out. And so then we'll look at how the different generations approach work, going back to sticking points, how different generations approach work. So for like a millennial generation, they're going to approach time as money. So instead of a pay raise, the millennial mindset might be, give me another week of paid vacation. I'd rather have more time maybe than more money. But then a baby boomer is going to be like, the work is the joy. So I'd love to serve on 3 committees and teach a Bible study class and sing in the choir and be at church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. So they may approach it with a different mindset of time and work. And so if you do this composite, seeing how they work, then hopefully you can also begin looking at age and see what different generations serve where. And it might be your student ministry is heavy in one generation, and maybe your administration is heavy in one generation. Then we can start looking at how you get more intergenerational, get people working together, moving together, so you have a more centric, organized operation to where people are actually leading in ministry well together. So I know that's a lot of information to unpack, but that's where we're going this week. That's what we're looking at this week. It's going to take us a couple of weeks to do it. So hang in there with me and let's get to the depths of how many people does it take? Why does it take that many? Do we have enough to do what we're doing? And then how do we get these different generations working together on the same page to do what God's called us to as a ministry and a church? Praying for you this week. Hope you have a great one.